Evening, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. It's Friday night. It's time for the What's on Joe Mind. There's stuff falling down all over the place. Cats and dogs living together.
Total chaos.
Right? I mean, you'll see a bunch of people who aren't here. Well, who we do have here, Troy McKee from Callsign Longbow. We'll be back to talk to him in depth after our kick-ass theme song.
There's Comic-Con or a toy show. What's on?
Wrong button.
Oh, rough.
Good times. Goodness. All right. I'm Mike Irizarry. I'm your host. Welcome to What's on Joe Mind. We are a fan cast about the world of G.I. Joe. Not a lot of G.I. Joe to talk about, but we'll get to that in a minute. As you can see, we are without Joe Colton. She is on assignment. The honcho called away by last-minute emergency. So moving up to chair number 2 tonight, it's Racktime Rob. Cries of nepotism abound.
Mostly from me, but it's strange.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Also joining us, as you can see in the bottom row, all to himself, from Callsign Longbow, Troy McKee is back with us.
How we doing?
No applause from Racktime Rob. He hates you.
I'm trying to keep my computer on my lap since someone took over the family room.
Okay. That now. Anyhow, so yeah, that's what we got going on tonight. If you are watching us on Facebook, welcome. Go ahead and leave us some kind of reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We do love little huggy guy. YouTube, go ahead and hit like to our video. Subscribe to our channel. And, of course, comment in the big boy comment section when we're done. Share we're in your social media circles and all that other good stuff. Really appreciate the participation we've got. We are up to 1,010 subscribers. We couldn't do it without you, but that doesn't mean we're done yet. So please keep spreading the word. We'd like to get past that 10-10 mark so that if 10 people decide that they hate us all of a sudden, we're not screwed all over again. So,
future proofing,
right? At least give us a dozen on Wiggle Room, could you?
Yeah.
But that is the thing.
I'd hate to lose that 81 cents.
Right, we're up to $1.06 now. We have suckled $1.06 from corporate America. Estimated. But that is the thing you can do to help us out the most if you're watching us on recording. Head to our YouTube channel. Subscribe on YouTube. That is the number one thing you can do to help us out. Besides, of course, watching our videos. And again, we thank you for that. So yeah, we'd Rob, you're bandaged up tonight. You're walking wounded. You're on injured reserve. Troy's tire setup is falling apart around him. Can't hit the right buttons. We're off and running is all I'll say.
Proudly living up to our description as 2-bit slime track.
Right. I do want to throw out there that currently in central Indiana, where Rob and I are located, there's a pretty heavy storm system moving through. So if things just suddenly go out, that's our show. Good night, everybody. It shouldn't be. It sounded like it was a lot worse about half an hour ago than it is right now. So it should be okay, but I just want to throw it out there if something happens. So anyways, before we get into the meat of tonight's show, why don't we go ahead and get what passes for news? All right. Your Racktime Rob stepping up, understanding the responsibilities of Chair 2. Look at me unable to get to the screen. Okay, there we go. First news item.
Doot, 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 doot.
It's this thing.
Well, isn't that perfect?
Hey, it's the Cobra Fang from Funko Pop. It's got Cobra Commander in the middle, which is probably the best scenario because he does not have huge dead eyes. And this is a GameStop exclusive. You can pre-order now on GameStop's website. Delivery date is expected at July 2nd, 2022. Take that with a pinch of salt, because Lord knows nobody's delivery date is what's expected to be. Look, I've been reading some stuff. Like somebody's GameStop order got bumped back from July to February, and that required them to give us a manifesto online about how they would never order from GameStop again. Okay.
Probably not GameStop's fault.
Okay.
Almost certainly not.
Right. So yeah, that's it. Looks to be a little Funko Pop with a stupid giant head and a tiny copter, which otherwise looks pretty good. I have the Funko Pop Cobra Commander.
Well, they just repackaged all those fangs that they clearanced out at Walmart, right? Isn't that what this is? Didn't they just?
Yeah, they shaved down the rotors a little bit, and there you go.
Yeah.
I thought they just threw them in a warehouse and then lit the warehouse on fire. But anyway,
Probably it's buried with all those ET cartridges.
yeah. Well, if anyone's seen like the national news lately, that's what's happening in Indianapolis. We had a Walmart warehouse go up in smoke.
Awesome. I had missed that, but I don't watch the news because it's depressing. Troy, do you do Funko Pops over there in Troyland?
I do not. I mean, I have had a couple come into my presence that I have kept, but I am not currently pursuing these. I decided that was my cutoff. I'm not.
That was the line, huh? Yeah, same here. I have that Cobra Commander because it was a gift, and I have the Beachhead one because it's Beachhead, and that's about where I'm at for the rest of Funko Pop. We're done.
I have a Batman. It's on my desk at work. Kids have had it in their mouth.
It's truly an amazing world you live in, Rob. Kids have had it in their mouth, like the head part,
among others. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I just need to know how this is happening.
Yeah.
Like, do they see that as a challenge to try and take that down, or anyways?
They just put it in their mouth because it's what they do. That's just
what they do.
And these are high school sophomores, right?
Yeah, but it's special needs. So.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. And thanks on that for the image and the information. We got that straight off of the surveillance port. Entirely too lazy to look up my own information on a Funko Pop Fang pre-order. If I seem a little unenthused, it's because I'm a little unenthused. Next news item. Okay, this is just announced earlier today. Walmart Collector Con is happening again. That is next week. That is Thursday and Friday, March 24th and 25th. There are over 60 reveals and orders or pre-orders going live those 2 days. Included in the press release was the G.I. Joe classified retro figure Mars, who we've identified, or I guess not we, but the collecting community has identified as the Baroness. Possibly more. There were none others specifically listed in Walmart's press release. More details are available at walmart.com. As you can tell from the cutout here, that female image could be the Baroness. We do know that other one is definitely not the Baroness. So that much we can figure that we can lead you that far. So anyways, it looks like an event where we've already seen the things that are going to be released to us. Troy, you were not around on that show, obviously. What do you think about the G.I. Joe classified retro figures?
You know, I'm a big proponent of the retro packaging because that means something more to me. I'm a little concerned that we're going to get Lady J when that is the only figure I'm currently finding at retail to begin with. That we're going to get more of that because at least here in Colorado, man, that and Cobra Commander, those are the only two figures that you find anywhere you go. So I'm a little concerned on that. I think, Baroness without the bike's probably a good call, especially for guys that don't want vehicles or want a more traditional Baroness, because I know this one's going to be a little more traditionally decoed. So.
And Gung Ho's a winner.
Yeah, Gung Ho's a winner. I think the new Destro is a winner. I'm hoping the card backs are thicker than what we've seen at the Walmart retro line and the O-ring figures, but Hasbro seems to be doing a pretty good job. I was looking at some of the Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures that are on those retro card backs, and that tends to be a heavier stock. So
yeah, the Marvel Legends stock it's a thick stock.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get the figure out of there, you got to cut it out.
Yeah, it feels substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that the G.I. Joe ones are any thicker than they were for the 4-inch figures, but yeah, could be interesting.
Yeah.
Just be ready. Be ready for the complaining. That's all I'm saying.
It's all right. Walmart's known for great distribution, right? That should be
and extreme care in shipping packages.
Yeah, yeah. My Doctor Strange came in with a lovely bashed in packaging, which if I were an in package collector, you wouldn't have been happy. But the figure was fine.
Your G.I. Joe Retro Scarlet came in so flawless that there was
it was ethereal almost. Yeah,
really, it was just clear. They sent Rob an empty box for everybody keeping score at home. They sent him an empty box. At some point we threw the box out, right?
Well, yeah,
I guess. I don't know. I was keeping it for a while. I was showing it off every week. We have lots of new viewers, so I have to recap some of this stuff on. But that's it. That's next week. That is Thursday and Friday. So set your clocks for 9 a.m. to head over to Walmart.com if you're so inclined to see the stuff that we've already seen. But I believe that the pre-orders are going live, so that's something. So if you want the new Joes, the new retro Joes, that's the day. Next news item. We are coming down the home stretch on G.I. Joe and Espana. That is 8 full color volumes plus the free collector's case. You can get the full details at gijoeandespana.blogspot.com. Pre-orders are open through the end of the month. So we're today is the 18th already. It's the day after St. Patrick's Day. We are all digesting heavy amounts of potatoes, but it's if you're into this book, now's the time. €220, however that converts out. I believe it's a bit more than that with shipping to us here in the States. But again, if you have an interest about G.I. Joe in foreign countries, about how it was set up, about how it was distributed, about how it was created, this is one of those types of resources that you don't want to miss out on. Troy, you in on this?
I have not gotten in on that. No, unfortunately, as you know, I'm barely literate enough to read English, and for people who know me, that's not a joke. Like I am not good with the written word. So I don't think I'm going to be partaking in this one, but it looks cool.
It does. Again, 7 of the 8 volumes we have on good authority are mostly pictures anyway. So there you go.
That would help me for sure.
There you go. That's what they call the Troy McKee difference. But so if you're in on that, again, G.I. Joe and Espana.blogspot.com. You got about 2 weeks or 2 more times of me hitting this promo for you. So, and that's the news. All right. That's I don't know. Troy, now you've been on the show a couple of times, both on episode 171 and tonight. We need to grade out Racktime Rob as compared to his peers in regards to his news making sounds.
Hey, I'm lucky I got a voice.
How are we grading him?
I don't know. I think tonally he was fine. I think his energy was lacking. I'll give him a C+. C+, B-.
Oh, you have no idea how my energy is lacking.
Is that fair, Troy?
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a good effort.
Or I actually, it's a poor effort. He's right. He's getting by on talent.
I like that he was consistent. It sounded almost the same each time.
Yeah, the talent is there, but that brings us to the community calendar. We're going to go ahead and hit the correct button this time. We hope. Fingers crossed. Everyone knock on something wooden.
There's a Comic-Con or a toy show. What's on Joe mind? Wants to know. Tell Mike, Mark, and Joe. Community Calendar.
Wow, where'd that crawl up from?
Hey, somebody sent that to us.
I figured. I know you didn't do that.
I do not have the ability to compose music, but our fan, Agent Chuckles, James Booth,
There you go.
song, and so I told him I would put pictures on it and use it for community calendar, and there it was, all 13 seconds of it. And as you saw there, if you have a show in your area or something that you don't think that we've heard of, because chances are we haven't heard of it, go ahead and send that to us at what's on Joe Mind at gmail.com, and we'll happily get it into community calendar. We'll do the best that we can.
And Agent Chuckles is in the house right now.
Agent Chuckles is in the house. He is there giving us a yay. So I told you, man. I told you we'd use it. I told you. Get my banner going so we can tell everybody that's waiting to find out what's up with Troy here. Who's that dude in the bottom that can't read? Oh, it's Troy. He's here from Callsign Longbow. Good thing he engineers action figures. We'd hate that he'd be doing something little. But of course, first up, it's happening now. You can meet Joe Colton and remind her to hashtag plug the damn show at GalaxyCon in Richmond, Virginia. If you saw Joe today, she was doing her G.I. Joe thing today, because God forbid we dress like a G.I. Joe character around traffic. But Friday was today. She was Crimson Baroness. Tomorrow, in the early part of the day, she'll be donning her Wonder Woman outfit. Late Saturday, she will be Batman Woman, and then on Sunday, she is a Ghostbuster. So be sure, if you're around in and around the Richmond, Virginia area, and that's a pretty good sized area, head to GalaxyCon, say hey to Joe Colton, and again, harass her to plug the damn show.
Yes, really remind her. She'll forget.
She will forget. She will forget probably the entire weekend. And then it'll become kind of a grudge thing, probably, but you know, whatever. That's her prerogative. She's had to deal with this for 6 years now, so. But next up, of course, also happening this weekend, it's Toylanta in Marietta, Georgia. That is at the Hilton Hotel and Conference Center. If you're in or around Atlanta, by all means, stop in on a day pass at this point. But that is also as you can see on the graphic here, that is also the Joe Lanta and Cody Lane Memorial Toy and Diorama Museum exhibitions. Again, it's a big deal. It's one of the bigger toy shows in the South for the entire year. So really, you owe it to yourself, if whatever you collect, to get out to Toylanta, even if it's just for a few hours. Do it. It's worth your time. Won't go home empty-handed. Troy, you ever been to Toylanta?
I did. I went, I want to say in 2019.
Oh,
yeah, right. Not long before COVID, either 2018 or 2019. I can't remember specifically. It was a good show. I mean, it was a good size show. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I hadn't been down to it before. And I mean, it was a good weekend. I found a lot of stuff that I needed, and there was a good sized dealer floor with a lot of good stuff. That was the thing. I found a lot of stuff there. Where I'm at is really kind of a wasteland when it comes to collectibles. Like in general, there's not really a vintage toy market here where I'm at. So I'm always amazed anytime I go back east to a show, because they've always got way more stuff than anybody's got in the Denver area. So
yeah, it's you have natural beauty and things like that, Troy. So you're out on collectibles.
well, that's enough about me. But thank you. I do appreciate
You're in
it.
the Midwest. We have flat Earth and dust. We are heavy in collectibles.
We're currently in the gray time of year.
Yes, although it was pretty nice this week, but yes,
Yeah.
it's ooh. Anyways, so yeah, Toylanta happening now. So if you haven't been listening to us the last couple of weeks, sorry about your luck, but you're still done. Sunday, the Columbus Toy and Game Show is on, and that is happening from 8 to 4 in Columbus, Ohio, at the Expo Center in the Loesch building. Loesch. We have already gone into great detail on how you too can get yourself some Dickie beer. But $10 admission on that one. Also a big show. They do this one twice a year. Huge show. So if you're anywhere close to Columbus, Ohio, you owe it to yourself to get out for this one for at least the afternoon and check that out. A lot of friends of the show will be out at that one. No response. None. Okay.
Okay, like you said, things are slowly sinking in, and I'm just going, huh?
Doing the show with logs tonight. Just logs. Firewood. That's it. That's all we got on news and community calendar tonight. Got a little happy dancing guy. That's cool. But okay. So that again, that closes out the community calendar. I'm going to go ahead and throw up our ad so we can get in a word from our sponsors.
The good people at Kokomo Toys.
Fingers crossed we hit the right button. But now I think that extra time has given me the chance to ensure that that's the case. So
we buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
May have to make the trek out to Kokomo tomorrow just to make sure they haven't been washed out to sea. In case you've already forgotten the extreme thunderstorms going through the area. Nope. All right.
Hey, look, don't joke. I mean, normally when there's tornadoes in the area, they're always in Kokomo.
That's true. The Starbucks that I always used to stop at with the Godsos did get flattened by one. Like it doesn't exist anymore. There was a whole write-up in the paper how the assistant manager of the Kokomo Starbucks saved everybody's life by getting everybody out of the building. So, I mean, a feel-good story. And the death of a coffee house. But, yeah. All right. Nothing for that.
Nothing. No, we got nothing.
Sorry, folks, we're trying. It out there. Never thought I'd miss the Honcho's dad jokes quite this much. But
yeah.
This is your fault, Weber. Whatever happened tonight, it's your fault.
Oh, yeah.
With your,
I'm sure we're the furthest from his mind tonight.
He's probably watching on his phone and laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
Anyways,
look at him squirm.
Right? Oh, that'll never happen. I'll just hit the button. We're knocked out.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. So, Troy, you've got a thing going.
I do have a thing going. It's an all-consuming thing that I have going in all of my waking hours. So.
True. Why don't you, for folks who have joined us since episode 171, and if you haven't watched episode 171, by all means, go check it out so you can get the really in-depth grassroots knowledge on what Troy and his partner John are getting into. But why don't you give us just the quarter tour on Callsign Longbow?
You bet. So we're developing a line called Callsign Longbow, and it's a line of retro O-ring figures that'll be compatible with all the different figures you had as a kid, all the O-ring figures of the 80s and 90s. And we're really trying to dial into that. We want figures that fit right in with the collection that you already have. You know, the traditional construction, but we've tweaked it a little bit, where we've created a sculpting buck to make sure that we're sized correctly. But really our goal is we want a companion product that looks great with the figures you already have. And kind of the idea behind the project was we had some stories that we wanted to tell, but the biggest thing was we had this list of stuff that we always wanted all our lives that we never got from any other toy companies. And we thought, well, you know, we can just make our own. And I have experience in toy design. John Kukovic, who's my partner at Grindstone, he has experience on the production side of things, but he's also a very talented designer. So, you know, we got together a couple of years ago and we started kind of brainstorming, and we came up with Longbow. And it's a story set during the Cold War, you know, during the mid 80s. So that's the aesthetic we're going for. But yeah, that's kind of the basics.
And who knew that you had the foresight to predict that the Russians would continue to be the world's greatest villain?
You know, everything comes back around. If you just wait long enough,
right,
everything comes back around.
Right.
Putin's just riding that 80s nostalgia wave.
Right. I am. I'll go ahead. I'll come back around too. If you're watching this on Facebook tonight, go ahead and give us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We love little huggy guy. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Last couple of weeks have been pretty good. Only 15% of the folks who've watched have not been subscribers. But again, if you're not subscribed, what gives? Stand up and be counted. We really appreciate it if you help us grow things. And of course, remember, like the video, comment down below and share it in your various social media minglings. But that's not the long and short of it, Troy. Like the Soviets are the main villain.
Yes. So we've got, the Soviet Union is the main antagonistic faction, right? But that's not all we've got. So I've got some stuff here to recap kind of from the last time. For those folks that you know, may be new to this or haven't seen this, let's talk a little bit about what we've got here. I'm going to share. So
Matt Rubin adds, Longbow does sound great, but I thought I'd missed the Kickstarter. No,
you have not missed the Kickstarter. We're hoping to be able to announce that pretty soon. We are still waiting on a couple of things from overseas, from our production team. You know, it's one of those things, especially when you're halfway around the world. It's always a little longer to do everything kind of than what you're hoping for.
Right.
So here's kind of the idea where we started with on the production side. So we developed a 1-to-1 buck, you know, with traditional proportions, kind of what you expect from an O-ring figure for our sculptors that we work with to start from. The one major change that we made from vintage figures is that we added swivel arm or swivel wrist construction here. And what we're doing there is we're actually making the hand out of a softer PVC like material. And that gives us the added benefit of being able to do the swivel wrist, but it also helps us prevent thumb breakage, which is something, you know, with traditional figures that have always been, you know, kind of a bane for collectors.
Right. The zap effect.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. I got a couple more here. So what does that look like as we kind of move forward? So that's the buck that we started with, and then after a sculptor works with it, we get something that looks more like this. So this is our GRU Spetsnaz figure. That's going to be a obviously a Soviet army builder, and he's got a rifle and he's got a hat. He'll also have a map bag, is what we have planned for him. But you can see, like, this looks like a vintage figure, right? So
Yep.
if you have any core figures or American Defense or Bronze Bombers or any of those other O-ring lines, this looks like something that fits in G.I. Joe. But it's it's got that proportion, and we want something, like I said, that fits with the collection you already have. It's really important for us that we get the look right, we get the aesthetics right, that it feels like a vintage figure. We're going to make improvements when we can, but at the same time, we don't want it to be so like wildly out of I guess the norm with the collection that you already have, that it's jarring, right? We want something that that works, and that looks like it goes along. So I've got a couple of figures here.
Andrew Lofkin has already pledged 10 on the Spetsnaz guys there. Old American.
Yeah, we're thinking that one might be popular. So I've got some images here, just some color images of some stuff that's not sculpted up yet or isn't far enough along in the sculpting process, just so you can kind of see what some of these characters will look like. So like this is Boxcar. He's our Marine machine gunner. And you can see, again, kind of that traditional look and feel. What you'll notice on some of these is that we do have some reuse of parts. We are a startup, we're just getting going. We need to be very, very economical about what we do. So there will be some reuse of parts as we go through this line, especially in the beginning. Like the first 4 figures that we're planning on funding with will share some significant tooling. But as we move through the campaign, we're hoping to unlock some more figures as we go with some unique designs and some unique parts that we're not seeing in other places.
Who is the guy with the helmet that we flipped past?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me go back there. So that's the Fang Army Instigator. And I should add, I'm not showing anything on here tonight that we haven't already, any of the characters that we haven't already posted on our website. So you can go out to cslongbow.com and there are character profiles there. So if you want to learn more about these guys as I go through here, I'll give you the names, but you can go out and read their at least short bios anytime you want there. So don't forget to stop by. We appreciate that. Yeah, so this is the Fang Army Instigator. He's kind of a if you read his bio, you kind of get a feel for it. The idea was we took the idea of a Green Beret as a force multiplier and tried to transmit that into what we thought a bad guy that had a similar job function would do. How would a bad guy force multiplier work?
He's a rabble rouser.
Exactly. And he's got some cool accessories that we've got designed up for him. We've got this AK with a folding stock that we're really hoping we can make work in production. We're waiting. That's one of the things that we have questions about from the factory. He's got a lead pipe here. He's got a Molotov cocktail that we'd like to paint up so that the bottle is a shiny green, so it actually a glossy green, so it really looks like a bottle. What you can't see here in this drawing is that the idea with the Molotov cocktail is he can hold it up here if he needs to, but there's actually a channel cut into the back so that he can put his hand through there and really like hold it in a realistic pose.
Right.
So we've got Lancer here. Lancer is kind of our main hero character. He's kind of our lead hero character. He's a Green Beret. He's a leader of one of the fire teams for Longbow. So he's got a pretty traditional uniform there. Outlaw here is a close quarters combat specialist, so he's got more of a kind of a SWAT look to him, and he's got a big suppressor on his MPK here and a gas mask. This is Paradox. This is a pararescue jumper, and I kind of wish John was here to talk a little bit more about Paradox, because Paradox was really it really came from him. It's his baby through and through. John always wanted a pararescue jumper in the various O-ring toy lines. And Paradox is
you're allowed to say GI Joe, Troy. It is.
I know I'm allowed to. I'm just being careful not to. But yeah, so there wasn't one in GI Joe, and the other big thing was both of us just really wanted some kind of a medic that wasn't a pacifist, because that seems to be a reoccurring thing in GI Joe. So this guy, even though pararescue jumpers are not typically and are not active, are not frontline combat troops, we still wanted somebody that knew how to use a gun and could do that a little bit more than what you see in GI Joe. Let me see. I've got that. These you've already seen. These are some of the weapon sculpts that we've done. John and I modeled all of these up. This is something that we can do. We don't necessarily sculpt people that well, but both of us have a little bit of an engineering background, so we've been modeling these in 3D software. So this is one of our army builder types that we haven't really put out there yet. We're still settling on a name for this one, but he's just kind of your generic bad guy troop builder, right? Whatever you need, your standard kind of either movie bank robber or terrorist or separatist, whatever you need him to be, just a guy in a tracksuit with an AK. It's just you can use him however you need to, and there are going to be stripes down the side, so there will be 2 white stripes down the legs, down the arms, so it'll really look like a tracksuit.
He'll be calling people bro.
Yeah, we're gonna get the we're gonna get the packaging art where he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and he's squatting, because that's a meme on the internet. Slavs squatting in tracksuits is a meme. So we're gonna do that. So this next guy is Uptown. I'm going to talk a little bit about the comic book here in a minute, but Uptown's kind of our new guy in the comic, and he's an air assault, like a helicopter assault trooper, a CAV trooper. So kind of like if you've ever seen the movie We Were Soldiers, those guys where they deploy off of helicopters, think like that. So he's going to feature pretty heavily in our comic. Here's Volk. Volk is our bad guy, kind of our main bad guy. He's a Spetsnaz major, and he is going to be put in charge of a team that's going to hunt down our good guys. So that's he and Lancer, right? If you had to have one good guy, one bad guy, they are pretty emblematic of the two teams. So that kind of catches us up to what we've talked about before. Is there anybody have any questions?
We'll let everybody get their questions in at the end. We want you to give us information first, and then we'll talk to the audience. Oh, that bit's always dead.
All right. So
Clown likes to say.
That's what we've already done, and that's what we've already talked about. Now that's a very small portion of what we're doing. We're to the point now, as we have the lead up into the Kickstarter, where we're being very careful with everything we get in, trying to decide, is this something we want to show now, or is this something we want to hold back and show during the Kickstarter? So that's kind of where we're at right now. So there are a lot of more things to show, but we're not necessarily throwing everything out there. We've done panels at Joe Fest and we've done panels at AR. So if you came to any of those panels, thank you very much. We appreciate the feedback, and we've gotten lots of feedback online. Like I said, check out cslongbow.com to learn more about the characters, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram in particular if you would like to see some more concept art and some other characters, because we've got some more stuff. We've got some more stuff on there. But we're getting down to crunch time. We're really hoping that we are going to launch this thing in the next couple of months here, and I'm very optimistic that we'll be able to announce a launch date by the end of this month. That's my great plan. So we're, there's a lot of stuff to show, but at the same time, I'm trying to be really, really reserved about what I'm throwing out there.
You should save all of the new stuff and then reveal it on What's on Joe Mind.
There you go. There you go.
Like a plan to me.
That's a good plan, Mike. I like that. So anyway, we are getting close, and we're working with some really, really talented people. That first Spetsnaz figure sculpt that you saw was put together by a former Hasbro sculptor that worked on G.I. Joe in the late 80s and early 90s. That sculptor won't be sculpting all of our items, but we really wanted that first figure to kind of be our benchmark, right? And it was really great being able to work with somebody that had experience with that. And sometimes we would send stuff, and then they would come back with notes about how particular things were done. And we could kind of leverage that to get closer. So that, again, that was a great benchmark for us to start from. But that is not the only sculptor that we have working on stuff. We have a couple of other independent sculptors that we're working with. Mark O'Byrne from Skeletron is doing some of the sculpting for us. That's great. Grindstone Toys, which is myself and John Kukovich, we have a really good working relationship with Skeletron. We have our first figure, which is currently available in their backer kit pre-order store for the Robo Skull Mark II, the O-ring figure, the Retro Trooper, Wolf Trooper pilot / Skeletron figure is there. So you can go pre-order one of our figures right now, even though it's not a Longbow figure, but same buck that we're working with on Longbow, it'll be that same type of figure. All the accessories will work across. So it's been a very good collaborative relationship. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Mark there, because Mark's been working on some stuff for us.
Those are sharp looking figures. We've had those in previous episodes, and the mock-ups on those look great.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about those. As far as kind of progress that we're making, though, at the end of February, we had a big actual line meeting, like they do on toy lines in a corporate environment, where we put together a group of specific stakeholders. It was Ben from Skeletron came and helped us out. George Greeno, who's a graphic designer, came and helped us out, and a couple of other folks. And we went through all of our plans for the Kickstarter and redlined everything, which is something you do. And we put everything up there to really try and distill down, going into the Kickstarter, what we thought our strongest figures were going to be, what were going to be the most popular products. And we pushed a few things that we thought we were going to have right up front to the back, and just kind of rearrange things. But we really kind of reassessed where we were at, and we decided that, in the beginning, we had thought that we would do a couple of tools and then just hammer away at them in every color that we could to try and recoup as much of that cost as we could, as early as we could, and to build that up. But what we decided instead was, what we think we might do, what we are doing, is we are going to focus on getting more unique tooling out sooner, and moving those up in the line, because that variety is really important. And that was it. All the focus groups we had done, all the feedback we had got from conventions, all of that was, people wanted unique figures that looked different. And that's not to say that there won't be reuse of tooling, but we're going to be doing it less in the beginning than we had originally planned. So a focus on unique parts, which we know is important, because that helps, those characters look very different. Anytime that we can, we're trying to make sure that we have an if we have to reuse body parts, we're trying to always add a new head or new accessories, so that it's less noticeable. where parts get reused, because we know that can get, that can get pretty heavy pretty quick reusing stuff. So we did, though. We had a full run of things, and we really locked in the order of our unlocks for the Kickstarter. And over the next month or two here, we are going to have a lot of big reveals and news coming. So can't share it all right off the bat, but we've got more coming. So I'm here tonight to whet your appetite for more to come.
Yes, we're 45 minutes in. We'll actually get to the point of what we hooked everybody with tonight. Right?
Hey, that's good for us.
Right.
So who wants to see new stuff? Let's do some new stuff where I don't have to go back and try and remember what we talked about before.
Just pretend we didn't talk about any of it, because I can't. Obviously, we have no idea what everybody's seen. YouTube is kind of a world of goldfish. The people who have seen every episode, maybe what, a dozen. So yeah, just pretend nobody knows anything.
So let's talk about the comic book first. So we are developing a comic book with our partners over at Broken Icon Comics. And the idea with this comic is we are going to release this for free as a digital comic before or at the same time that the Kickstarter launches. And
applause for free.
Yeah,
free.
Well, we figure we've created these characters, and the thing is, these guys very much live and breathe in my head and in John's head, right? We've got a brand Bible that's 90 plus pages that we've developed with all these characters and their backgrounds and why they do what they do and all kinds of, detail. And we've really kind of fleshed out this rich world for these characters to exist in. And we need to be able to tell that story, and comics really make sense. But especially because this is a new brand, we need to get people on board, right? So we said, how would we tell the story? And we could do a comic, but we really decided that, we should just give the first issue away for free to introduce these characters, right? To get everybody acquainted, at least with the base team. So we've been partnering with, like I said, the guys at Broken Icon, and we have been developing this comic. Now these are just black and white pages, but obviously we're gonna have it full color. The hope would be that during the Kickstarter we would have the opportunity for you to add on printed copies of the book, and then we would have printed copies when we go to fulfill the Kickstarter, additional copies to sell, right? And we're talking about doing an exclusive cover for the Kickstarter. Now that would be, of course, that would be a physical copy that would be an add-on cost. But the digital copy of this first issue is going to be free on our website. So we're really excited about that. It's been great working with the guys at Broken Icon. Nick, our writer that we worked with, really helped us put together a story that gets us right into the action. It's 22 pages, and what we needed to get the characters introduced, but we also want Longbow to feel like an 80s action movie, right? We need a lot of stuff going on. We need that action. We need explosions. We need to get right into it. So he helped us write a very quickly paced story that introduces our characters and gets them into the first mission, so that you can see these guys in action, and really see them doing their thing. So anyway, this is a page from that comic, to kind of give you an idea of the art style. It will be colored, but this is one of our approval pages. Now keep in mind there's some big spots here that you may be seeing where there's kind of some unused space. That's usually where a word bubble is going to go, because we haven't added the text yet, but there is text there. I also want to give a shout out while we're talking about this to our guys at Broken Icon, because they have a Kickstarter that's running right now. So they have a Kickstarter. It's got 7 days left in it. And that is for a comic, The Adventures of Al Snow, featuring Chavo Guerrero. And for those that don't know, Al Snow was a WWE wrestler for many, many years, and Chavo Guerrero was a WCW and WWE wrestler for many years. I remember Chavo because I was a WCW guy in the late 90s, early 2000s. So anyway, they have partnered with Al to do a comic one or two comics in the past, and then they've got this comic, and now it's featuring Chavo. So that is out there. They just funded, I think yesterday they met their funding goal. So they have some additional stretch goals that they are going to be pursuing now. So if you're into wrestling or into independent comics or both, head over to Kickstarter and check out their campaign, because it's fun stuff. So it's a Western kind of thing. It's different, but it's a lot of fun. So.
Given
anyway.
the names of the folks involved, I'm sure it's got more than its share of offbeat notes.
Yeah. So
Al and Chavo are renowned weirdos. If you so throw that in as a selling point, I guess.
Absolutely. So anyway, we've been very lucky to work with those guys. Obviously, they have a lot more experience on the comic book side than we do. We have toy experience, they have comic experience, so it's been great to be able to rely on them for stuff, and partner with them through this process. So like I said, that is coming. We want to have that released ahead of time, or at least when we launch the Kickstarter. So that's the plan on that. All right, so next, here's another figure. So when we were on here the last time, we debuted a new character at the time, which was Meisnik. And that is one of our Soviet operatives. And Meisnik means butcher in Russian. So this guy is a VDV trooper, which is the Russian airborne services, right? That's their airborne troops. And I do not remember how to pronounce what VDV actually means. And I will butcher it. So we're just going to leave it at that. He's a Russian airborne guy, but this is our really sadistic bad guy, right? He's a nut job, and he's very into knives and torturing, and he enjoys it way too much. So he's kind of that archetype. So since we debuted him the last time we were on here as a character image, these are the new updated sculpt drawings that we have that have been colored in for a proposed deco. And you may notice that these accessories here are already sculpted up. Those are 3D modeled. So those are good to go. But this
is that a bone saw up there?
That is a bone saw.
Charming.
He's halfway to Dreadnought.
Absolutely. And we tweaked his torso a little bit to make him a little more distinctive, but you can see here what we're going for visually, at least. He's a little out there look wise. As a general rule, with Longbow stuff, we're going to have the Longbow guys are going to look pretty actioned up, right? They're gonna look like a GI Joe figure. There's going to be some details and things, some padding, stuff like that on the uniforms that are probably not real realistic. Meisnik here is a little plussed up, but as you could see earlier when I showed that Spetsnaz trooper, especially our Soviet trooper types are going to be fairly historically accurate. They're not going to be 100% right on, but they're gonna look much more realistic. And the individual characters, the named characters, will look a little more unique and a little more plussed up. So just kind of style-wise, we'd really like to try and touch on different things that different people are looking for, right? Some people want hyper realistic or historically accurate stuff. So we want some figures to kind of, scratch that itch. Some people want really, wild stuff, robots and ninjas and stuff like that. We also want to scratch that itch, right? We want to make a fun line that appeals to a wide audience. And we're hoping that across the line, there will be something for everybody in Longbow, especially as we move forward. The other thing is, we want this first grouping to be obviously very successful because we're starting the company up and we need that. But we also want to build a solid foundation for Longbow going forward. We don't foresee this as a one and done type of line. We have years worth of stories that we would like to tell and lots of toys that we want to make. So really, what we're focusing on in this first Kickstarter is building a solid foundation that we can then grow on top of, right? So that's kind of where we're starting out, or at least where we're heading in the Kickstarter. So we've talked about Longbow. We've talked about the Soviets. We need to talk about the third faction, right?
Right.
So we debuted a video in December that was just a teaser image of an emblem, right? And from the beginning, we have always planned that there would eventually be a third faction as part of this story. And really, you know, kind of thinking of it, right, as like a giant game of rock, paper, scissors, where each faction has different strengths and weaknesses, and they might challenge the other factions in another way. And really, the other thing we wanted to do is we wanted to load up our heroes with lots of antagonists, because we think that we can write some more compelling stories that way, and just a lot more interesting to see how our heroes might be dealing with juggling multiple threats, right? So we debuted this third faction, which is the Steel Web. So we don't have a lot to share about Steel Web yet, because they are very, very mysterious. And when we debut them, they will not actually be a known entity to our heroes. They won't even know what the name of the organization is. And that will be something that we are going to share in the comics a little bit at a time. And we'll see Longbow, you know, kind of learn more about this organization and the kind of threat that it poses. But we really wanted to get it out here and let you guys know what it is, because we are going to include the first Steel Web figure in the Kickstarter. So we wanted to make sure you guys understood what that faction was, why that was important going forward, and how that character, you know, might affect things going forward, or how he might be interacting with our heroes. So anyway, this is the first time we have shown this off. We were waiting to make sure that the trademark cleared, but we got that taken care of. So anyway, Steel Web is going to be our third faction. And it's going to be in comparison where, like I said, Longbow may be plussed up a little bit. The Soviets may be very traditional. Steel Web is where you're going to see more of the tech and a little bit of sci-fi influence. So it will be a little more supervillainy, I guess. But that yeah. So that's our other big threat that is out there. If you think that's cool, if you like that logo, we did set up a T Republic shop today, which I'll get that address around, and we'll be sharing that online here in the next week. But we are going to have where you can order Longbow or Steel Web t-shirts. They've got mugs. They've got all kinds of stuff that you can get the logos on there. But anyway, that's our third big faction. If anybody's got questions, I just keep thinking of this like how we did our panels and shows. I'm not used to just talking and not having people heckling me back. It honestly sometimes throws me off.
It's unsettling. I mean, if we decide we're going to behave,
I know that's.
I
know nobody's calling me names. It's hard for me to get through stuff unless somebody's berating me. So
no, we did all that before the show. So
yeah,
like it's out of my system. But
besides, most people save that for school board meetings now. So you know,
yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
but Weber will be first in line for that Steel Web T-shirt. You understand?
I'm hoping so.
Like he's if he is watching on his phone, which is entirely possible. Yeah, I bet he's already searching through TeePublic to find his way into a double X, to speak.
And I will say, go ahead. I would like to say one more time, there is a lot of other stuff that I cannot show yet because we are holding stuff back, and it is really difficult not to just start going through Windows Explorer showing all of this stuff. But
you you certainly don't have to worry about getting the breaks from our side of things. But so if anybody in the viewing public has any questions for Troy, this is the time to start getting those into the live chat. We will happily take some questions there. So Troy, the first wave of toys that are going to go through the Kickstarter, about how many figures can folks expect to see potentially available? Like, I don't obviously your base Kickstarter is going to be something, but then you'll have stretch goals and so on and so forth.
Sure. So
everything high in the sky, best possible opportunity. How many figures would that unlock?
Initial funding. Let's start with that. So what do we have to have at a bare minimum to get it unlocked? We have 4 figures. We got 2 good guys. We got 2 bad guys, 2 Longbow guys, 2 Soviet guys, real straightforward. So if nothing else, we've got, a good play scenario there, right? You can have whatever kind of fights you need to have, and we're good to go. Beyond that, we have up to 16 figures in the Kickstarter that we have planned for. That is not to say that we cannot add more. We got to that 16 by cutting down from 24. So, I mean, if things got insane, there is no reason why we couldn't pull additional designs out. But, realistically, we think 16 may be the top. Just kind of, based on the way that Kickstarters go. There's also, it's a double-edged sword. More product is awesome. And we want to make as much stuff as we can. The flip side of it is more product means more work at the factory, which means it may take longer to get product around. So there is always a balancing act when you're working with a factory about, number of SKUs versus production time and what it takes. But we're going to start with 4, but like I said, maybe 16 if you guys
right.
really have at it.
Put the onus on the public.
Mm-hmm.
It's as many as you want.
Yep.
Josiah Alcorn asks, how much are you going to be able to repurpose the tooling from character to character?
So we think we're going to be able to repurpose that fairly well. The parts that you're going to see that are going to get reused are you're going to see arms and legs get reused anytime that we can. And sometimes it's not always possible, but as much as we can. If it's a new character, we want to make sure that we've got obviously a new head, but as much as we can, we're going to make sure that they have a unique torso as well. Because we do want those to look different. We don't want all of the guys to look the same. So, it is what it is. But most of the time when we are designing a figure, we are designing it with alternate torsos in mind, depending on what we can fit in tooling and how we can produce stuff. So like I said, we are always looking at doing different torsos, different heads, different accessories. And there's not to say at some point down the line, even if we had to reuse bodies, that we might not be tooling new heads, to make something unique on every figure. The other place that buys us some leeway that you don't necessarily get with a traditional figure is because those hands are the swivel wrists, and because they're made out of a different material, you may see the same arms on 2 figures, but the hands may be different. One guy may be wearing gloves, one guy may be not. So even there, where those arms are reused, it may still look unique because the hand that's attached to the end of it may be different. So we have some more flexibility there with how we're reusing parts.
Nice. And arms, I would assume that arms are going to be the most expensive and trickiest parts to do variations on. So that's a good use of resources there. Mm-hmm. Viper Scout asks, any vehicles or pets in development?
I want to do vehicles so bad. So we are not offering vehicles as part of the Kickstarter. Let me put that out there right now. We've had some concept images on the Facebook page. There won't be any vehicles as part of the Kickstarter. We got to get figures done first, and then we can move on from there. But long term, we would love to do some vehicles. There are some very specific ones that we are looking at. There's some play sets that we'd like to do. So vehicles are definitely in the long-term plan.
Matt P. asks, do you roughly have a price point per figure?
We have a number that we're waiting to get confirmation on from our factory. So we are expecting it to be in line with other Kickstarters. What you're seeing with say Skeletron or Marauder Task Force, similar price range within $1 or $2.
Torpedo 83, long range pie in the sky, hopes, plans for vehicles. You've already answered that. Or diorama or play sets.
Yeah, so we've got some cool. We've got a little play set that John actually already mocked up and 3D printed. That's a real that we showed at AR. Actually, we showed it at our booth at AR. That's a real soft spot for me. It's based on a toy I had as a kid that we have really beefed up and made substantially cooler. But we would like to do play sets. And like I said, we'd like to do vehicles. Obviously, if money were no object, I'd love a Hind helicopter. That's the one Soviet vehicle that absolutely would have to have. That's a big one though. That's not a your first couple of vehicle outings. That's a high-end piece. So long term, I'd love something like that. I'm a sucker. I really want an aircraft based on the F-20, which was kind of the next evolution of the F-5 freedom fighter. And that was developed during the 80s as a low-cost fighter. And I really want that because in the movie Top Gun, which actually I'm wearing a Top Gun shirt, the MiGs in that movie are actually F-5s that are painted black. And I really want that F-20 so that we can do a redeco for the Soviets in black, because that, shooting down that new HasLab Sky Striker would be fantastic.
Already sowing the seeds of dissension. Asked if there are 16 planned figures, will those be available at different tiers, or are all of those going to be stretch goals? So
the first 4 will be unlocked at the very beginning, and then each additional figure will be at a stretch goal beyond that. So, each one, once we get to the next dollar amount, the next figure will unlock.
Gotcha. Nomad's Wandering. The thinking coming in regarding reducing broken thumbs is solid, but let's get down to the real important info. Measures taken to reduce broken crotches.
We've tried to keep that fairly thick in the designs. When you look at the vintage Joes, there's 2 main things that affect it, right? There's the material used, which you get different results, when we talk about gold plastic syndrome, right? So that ABS plastic, when they would add that metallic to it, that metallic flake to it, over time, that weakens the plastic and it snaps off. There are other figures that I suspect that is an issue with, even though they're not metallic. 85 Airtight comes to mind. You see lots of those with broken crotches, more than the average across the line, right? And it makes me think that it's that coloring. There may be something in it, some additive when they were trying to get those colors that may have caused that. But you also see some design issues where the crotch, if you were to take it apart and look at it from the side, that pin that comes down that's on the crotch on some figures, because of the detail, is just thinner than on others. And that obviously lends itself to be more breakable. I'm thinking about 86 Beachhead, 86 Lifeline, right? Those are other figures that you tend to see with broken crotches more often. So yeah, our plan is to try and mitigate that by being cautious about that during the sculpting process and making sure that we're not trying to make that too thin. But we don't have as drastic a solution there as we do with the hands.
There we go. I got you a new slogan there.
We're going to put that on the packaging. Instead of swivel arm battle grip down in the corner, it's going to say
thicken the crotch.
Boom. Viper Scout asked, do you plan on classic bubble packaging or more of a box presentation?
So we are planning on bubbles on card backs for standard figures. But what we've actually been playing with as an idea for our Kickstarter or crowdfunding exclusives is that those would actually be packaged in baggies with a bio card, similar to how mail away exclusives used to come, because we want to push those nostalgia buttons. And really, when you think about it, exclusives are kind of like how mailaways used to be, right? It'd be something different that you could order away for that you couldn't buy in a store. So, that seems to make a lot of sense to us. So that most everything will probably be either carded with a bubble or bagged.
But, strong crotch equals strong playtime. A Browser's novella. Just had to share that one. I liked it. Dagon asks, any airborne troopers? Just pretend one is for me. Any airborne troopers?
Well, we've got in this first line or this first wave. I don't know that any of our good guys are airborne specific. Obviously, Meisnick, I mean, he's Soviet airborne. VDV is airborne, but none of our heroes are in this first series of product. Not that couldn't happen eventually, though. Like I said, we want to make a lot of stuff over the long term. There will be airborne guys eventually.
So Firefly asks, am I misunderstanding, or are there 3 factions plus generic guys like the Fang Instigator and Tracksuit Guy that are not aligned?
So there are 3 main factions, and then there are lots of lesser factions, different groups that our heroes might bump into around the world. So like the Fang Army, that's going to be a minor faction. The Tracksuit Guy, obviously, you can use him how you want, but if you had a bunch of those, that would be some kind of minor faction. So yeah, there's the 3 main factions and then lesser factions.
Got will we say a blowtorch figure? I'm going to guess that means a flamethrower figure.
You might see that eventually. The other thing that you might see is, we have an interest in trying some different things and seeing stuff that we didn't see before. So if there's something that maybe with a traditional O-ring line that I'm not necessarily going to name all the time, where you had, let's say, a good guy that had a very specific specialty and there wasn't really a bad guy analog to that, you may see that in Longbow. You may see a Soviet flamethrower guy at some point, or something like that.
Josiah Algorn asks again, so I'm guessing a lot of Joe influence in Predator, Rambo, Commando, Top Gun. Is there any inspiration that we might not expect in the comic line?
So yeah, the comic, it's like I said, we want it to feel like an 80s action movie, but we also, just with the story in general, we want to play with big themes, right? The Cold War was a big global kind of interaction, right? So there were the main belligerents, and then there were all of these proxy wars all over the world. And that had lots of different effects in different places. So we want to kind of play off of that. And there's probably quite a bit of Tom Clancy influence there. I love those books, and they kind of, when you think about it, even when they're doing very specific small like team things or individual things, it still has these big kind of like geopolitical ramifications, right? So we're going to be playing with some of that kind of stuff, and we're going to be playing with the fallout of what happens on missions too, and how that affects things going forward, and the whole way that because it is historical fiction, the whole way that the Cold War plays out may be different in the Longbow universe than it is in the real world, although there may be some things that are the same. That's the great thing about this, is when we decide that we need something to be different, we can just change it for the story. So we can have that freedom to play with things. So there is some other influence there. Also, I got to tell you, I'm just a huge fan of kind of 80s aesthetic stuff. I've been binging Miami Vice here the last couple of weeks with my wife. So We're looking too at that kind of, with stylistic choices and things. And, we want it to feel very, very period accurate. It's not a modern story. It's an 80s story, viewed kind of through that lens.
Rob Vegas asks, any chance of an Aussie character?
We've talked about, and we've developed a few international characters that would be allies to Longbow along the way. Obviously, they're going to be going all over the world, taking it to the Soviets. So I would not rule out an Aussie at some point as part of that group.
Crocodile Joel McMullen. Along those lines, Matt Rubin, Callsign Longbow is very 80s based. Will there be weapons packs and accessory add-ons for different eras of weapons, even for just 80s based weapons?
I love accessory packs. I love the Vintage Joe accessory packs, even the ones in the weird colors. I just love having extra guns.
It's kind of a challenge to see who they actually do match up with, isn't it?
It is. So we would like to do accessory packs in the long term. Whether or not we do accessory packs that are different accessories than what might come with the figures, or something different, I don't know about that. We'll have to see how that goes. But I'm definitely open to that going forward.
All right. So it looks like the questions are winding down. If you have any questions, you're not watching this live, if you're watching this on recording, be sure to hit up our comment section down below. Leave those questions there. We'll do our best to pass them along to Troy, or God forbid Troy comes back and checks out his own video. Wonders we'll never. But by all means, leave them down there for us. I'll plug us one more time. If you're watching this on Facebook tonight, thank you so much. Go ahead, leave us some kind of a reaction. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a little huggy guy. We love little huggy guy. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are just past the 1,000 subscriber mark, so we'll have a chance to do some special things with you going forward. But that doesn't mean we're done growing. So please, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're here every Friday at 9 p.m. Just about, and then occasionally we do some bonus stuff that nobody watches, but it's still there. So maybe you should go back and watch the bonus stuff, so we feel the inclination to do some more. So, anyways, am I a little miffed that I gave up a Sunday night for nobody to watch? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm a little burnt on that one. Anyways, so why don't we go ahead? We'll move on from the questions here. Let's go ahead into what we got in.
Ooh.
Troy, you're a man of the world. You're a man about town. What'd you get in this week, or the last couple of weeks?
Oh, the last couple of weeks. Okay, so here's the thing: the stuff I got in, I can't tell you about yet.
What non-work stuff did you get in?
Oh, let's see.
For you.
What did I get in lately? As weird as it sounds, I've been going back and buying the G.I. Joe Micro Machines from 1999, and then there were some more that were KB's exclusive in 2002.
Nice.
And it was the kind of thing where at the time I was like, yeah, I'm never going to want these. And then as it turns out, I was wrong. And I'm
cool. I'm normally not one for the extra third-party little knick-knack stuff, but those Micro Machines were all right.
Yeah, and it was weird because I've always loved licensed stuff, so I don't know what was going on at the time where I was like, oh, I'm not going to want those, because I collect all kinds of licensed Joe stuff, birthday stuff, soap, all the weird stuff they produce over the years, kites. I'm looking for kite string in particular, but yeah. So I've been hunting around for G.I. Joe Micro Machines. It's not particularly cool, but I've gotten a couple of pieces out lately. So
I mean, late 90s, early 2000s, that was your heavy booze and heroin run, wasn't it?
It was. It's all a blur.
Yeah, that's tough. All right, everybody in the live stream is now chiming in if they were there on the Sunday nights. Relax, folks. Not relax. I do want people to watch, but I'm not really. The is a joke. I appreciate whatever time you guys spend with us on our 2-bit slime show. I really do. So please don't take that stuff to heart. If I can't just razz the co-host, sometimes I have to razz the audience. That's how this thing has gone for 11 years now. Anyways, what else you get in, Troy?
That's really it on the toy related front. Like I said, all the good stuff I can't talk about, and it's all cost substantially more, so I don't have a lot left over for toys.
It's not good when one of your jobs starts costing you the money that you make from the first job.
That's it's just one of those things, and everybody's like, oh, go into business, and nobody understands how much going into business costs.
Right. Even when you're trying to get stuff together for a Kickstarter, as you are,
Mm-hmm.
this will be a Kickstarter campaign launching somewhere late spring, early summer. Just to get everybody caught up who's maybe just popping in now. But by all means, if you have any further questions too, leave them down below. Find Troy and company and Grindstone on Facebook at Callsign Longbow, or head over to their website at callsignlongbow.com.
CSlongbow.com.
Longbow.com. I'm sorry. I've been
Right.
putting it up there all day, and I didn't bother to read it myself. Because that's how things go in the director's chair.
Yeah.
Detail.
And we'll continue to have updates and teases and concept art and stuff on the social media pages. So yeah, absolutely give us a follow there. The storm got to Rob.
No.
No.
I think he's just got a boogie. There we go.
The nose is starting to run here, and I'm like, ah.
He had to do a little picking.
No.
So, rack time, Rob, what'd you get in?
Hey, well, not long after last week's show, I got in a rule book, a very thick, heavy rule book for the G.I. Joe role-playing game. And he did too.
Everybody knew that, though. I put it on Twitter.
Yeah, but that is what I got in.
That's what you got in. Nothing the past week.
No, nothing.
All right. Yeah, we ran so long the last couple of weeks. We haven't done what we got in a while. So, but yeah, I haven't gotten too far into it. I think I've only read about 20 pages into the thing. So
yeah. Well, I mean, all of our other Joe classified pre-sales aren't due until March of 2028. So
right, there's plenty of time.
Yeah,
plenty of time. But speaking of pre-orders, I did have one of them come due. My GameStop pre-order for these two guys. So now we're up to 2 of each on Alley Vipers and on Batsuses. So I'm pretty happy there.
And I haven't gotten nothing.
You ain't got nothing.
I got nothing.
Nothing at all. We watched The Quiet Man last night because it was St. Patrick's Day. So yeah. That was a solid 5 hours of terrible Irish brogue during and afterward.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I had been doing all day, during St. Patrick's Day anyway. So.
Right, just yelling at one another and that's for stupid things. Oh, you're letting the dog outside the fence again. Oh, shoot its head. Things like that. Things that endear us to our international audience.
Yeah.
Clearly, I needed to share. But
how many watchers from Ireland?
I don't know. We're the reason that Patty Lennon and Brian Hickey met each other. So
well, there you go. We've got that going for us.
You're to blame. No,
exactly. Our fault. All of it. We take full responsibility for what we've unleashed on the world. And also going back almost 2 weeks at this point, but Beachhead number 34 showed up. So yes, I am single-handedly cornering the market now because there's only 40. Somebody accused me of that in an email. Why are you buying them all? You're making them all expensive. In 1986, that Beachhead figure, there had to be 1 million of those.
At least.
And that's probably not an exaggeration, right?
Well, you are buying all the ones that still have complete crotches.
That's possible.
86 and then again in 87.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Again,
Another couple billion they printed out.
yeah. So clearly, my 34 of them.
My
My
86 and 87, only the peak lines for
my attempt to have just some kind of oddball corner of my collection, because I can't do high end because I'm broke, and I can't do mass quantities because I don't have space. So I'm gonna get a lot of my favorite figure from the era, and that's gonna be my little corner, my little imprint on my collection. But clearly, I'm doing it to corner the market. When I get to when Beach Party 86 gets up in the 200,000 category, we'll talk. Boy. Oh, hey, A. Matthew Payne's Toy Sample says, love the cast, guys. First time on it live. Hope the chat's lively. It was. It's been spirited.
and politely spirited.
Yeah.
At least what I've seen. So.
It's been okay. It's been all right. Just I asked, didn't they make the same amount of all the figures? Yeah, they did, but they sold a lot of figures in 86 and 87. We're talking, I mean, G.I. Joe was the rampaging juggernaut of the toy aisle for about 5 years there.
Those were the two peak sales years, weren't they?
Yeah, they're
86, 87, so, yeah.
Well, 84 is widely considered the top one. And then there's like a fluke year 92 or something at the end of the run.
92, yep.
Yeah, where that's the number 2 sales year. God knows why. And then but 85, 86, 87 into 88 are real strong ones. Even 83 is a real strong one too. So that's just a big window that if you have figures from that time, there's just a ton of them out there. So yeah, 34 beachheads is not making a dent, folks. Drop in the bucket. Drop in the bucket. Diana Davis adds, she has many certain Joes. We know.
Which one?
I think she's big on Blowtorch.
Yeah. Doc.
Right, Matt Rubin, if you get up to Dan Larson's Boba Fett size of 500 plus Boba Fett's, then you're cornering the market. No. I'm not.
I don't think that's quartering the market on Boba Fett's, to be quite honest.
That's not even close. No, because no. Oh, and then my ex-wife sold them all for $5 total. Oh. Ooh, that's why she's an ex-wife, isn't it? Not to go digging. I got one too. That's a matter of public record in Jackson County, Missouri. I haven't used that line in so long. I've almost forgot what county it was. I haven't dropped that one in such a long time. But yeah. So yeah, no, if I got to 500, no, 500's a lot less than a million something. So yeah. Anyways, that rolls us into shout outs. Look at this, Troy. We're going to get out of here kind of on time.
Hey, that's what happens when you start on time.
Well, I mean, yeah, talk to Miss Rochester 2022 about that one. You can meet her, by the way. She'll be dressed as Wonder Woman tomorrow. Be sure to tell Joe Colton to plug the damn show. But Troy McKee, who we shouting out to tonight?
Shout out to John Kukovic, who couldn't be with us tonight. He's my partner in all this, so I really appreciate him. Obviously, shout out to the guys at Broken Icon Comic. Like I said, don't forget, if you're into wrestling stuff, go out and check out that Al Snow and Chavo Guerrero comic they've got on Kickstarter right now. It's got 7 days left. And shout out to all my friends at Skeletron and Marauder Task Force too. So. All
right, it's a huge amount of people. That's maybe the most volume shout out that we've had in a while. Normally we toss that over to the honcho. He shouts out to like one person. He talks about it for 10 minutes, but there's like one shout out in there. Oh, it continues. She had my mother's help. So,
oh no.
Oh.
Wow. Just the level of treachery here. Just
that's a conspiracy.
It's an onion of treachery. Just more layers. Just
the more you peel it back, the more it stings.
And there's crying.
There's crying.
Oh. Yes, Joe Colton posted a couple of Crimson Baroness pics. I reminded her for you. Cue my evil laugh. I'm not going to do it tonight because I am clogged, and if I do the evil laugh, it's going to spit something nasty onto that camera. So we're going to hold off on that. But she sent a couple art my way too, long after the point where I could add them to the slideshow. So it's just right on there. The timeliness is just right in step. Just she's not here, but it's like she's still here. We love you, Joe Colton. Please. Oh my goodness, it's I mean, really, if we didn't pick on the co-hosts, then who would we pick on? Nobody at all. Be stuck picking on Racktime Rob, and he's been worn down so much by the world that he just takes it.
Yeah.
Right. So Racktime Rob, who you shouting out to?
All right, let's shout out to Mark and the family. Hope everybody's okay.
Family emergency. Everything should be fine though, so no worries there.
But even still, we're thinking of you. And a shout out to my staff who, despite the fact that work has been a circling drain for the last several weeks, they still keep coming in. So, so then I still keep going in.
I imagine everybody likes paying the bills.
Yes.
I mean, nobody likes paying the bills, but everybody likes it when the bills are paid.
Yeah. So appreciate them. The classroom does not function without them.
Excellent. Yeah, me says, hope you feel better. I feel fine. I'm just phlegmy. I don't want to, and I don't need to share.
No, it's the sinuses as, storms move through and temperatures swinging 30 degrees every day around here.
Yeah, at the beginning of the week, we were in the high 40s. Today, we're in the low 70s. Tonight, we're back around 50. It's just, it's good times. It's March in Indiana. This is what we do here. You'd think I'd be used to it by now. No.
You never get used to it.
It wasn't any better. Like, that's something that wasn't any better for the time I spent in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
If anything, the swings are the same there. They're just like everything's 10 degrees warmer, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Like everything is 20% more humid, but it's the same. So it's actually, I'm doing better here in Indiana than I was in St. Louis because
it's no river.
Yeah, it's a little drier here. A little drier. No river that acts like a giant ocean of water. Yeah.
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 And there's Matt Rubin saying it's like that here. He's got 3 rivers. So,
Right. Diana Davis has my first shout out right there. Shout out to everybody who's plugging the damn show tonight. We really appreciate that. Again, if you're watching us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy because we love little huggy guy. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Remember, the thing that you can do to help us out the most, whether you're watching us on recording or listening to us on Podbean or watching us live, the number one thing you can do to help us out is subscribe. That's it. You can also check out our coffee page, link down below. You can also check out the What's on Joe Mind swag store. Pick yourself up a t-shirt with our fine logo on it. As you can see, kind of behind us in there in the creases. All that good stuff. We got the one in the corner too. That corner too. We got that on a t-shirt too. That one's get it while you can, because once we pass the 11-year anniversary, that one's out. Down. We're gonna have a new logo. So,
actually, we're just gonna get some old Phil Simms jerseys and pass them out at 11
with the big.
There you go.
Yeah, but
it's the right color and everything, so it's great.
But yeah, so shout out to everybody who's watching us. Shout out to our wonderful sponsors at Kokomo Toys. We'll take a second here and sing their theme song, Kokomo Toys.
Toys.
Hear you, Troy McKee. Kokomo
Toys.
Good job on the good recovery. But everybody sings the theme song. That's what gets everybody to come back when their Kickstarter goes live.
The price of admission.
That's how this goes. You got the thumbs up. But I want to give a shout out to everybody who's suffering in the situation in the Ukraine tonight. That is no good for anybody. I know that's a real sudden change, but there's no safe way to bring that up. It's terrible. We were kind of hoping for a quick end to it, but doesn't appear to be the case. There's just nothing at all positive to be said about the aggressors. And frankly, we could stand to have a Callsign Longbow around to take them out. Anyways, and of course, shout out to our wonderful guest, Troy McKee.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Troy.
Rob would applaud, but then this is everything would fall over. So that
Yeah, we hear another crash.
a shout out to Racktime Rob, who's suffering through with us through injury and illness. A shout out to Joe Colton, who's on the road and hopefully that she'll be able to come home safely. And a shout out to the honcho Mark Weber, who is dealing with a family emergency tonight. Everything should be fine, but of course, hopes for a quick recovery. To those affected by tonight's family emergency. But again, everyth's fine. No worries. It's not my business to give any more than that. So I'm being vague on purpose. So, but that's it. That's all we got tonight. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can write to us at whatsonjoemind@gmail.com. You can leave us comments and questions below. We're pretty good about getting those answered. Subscribe. Remember, if you come across a fan who is not subscribed to our channel, you are allowed to punch them in the arm. That's law. For my co-host,
Good luck with that, everybody.
Right? I should be running a banner right now. Not necessarily law.
Not liable, please, no.
Consult local statute. One more time, right there. Callsign Longbow.
Thick in the crotch.
Trademark. For my co-host Troy McKee and Rob Irizarry, I'm Mike Irizarry. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of What's on Joe Mind. Be sure to catch us next Friday on the next episode of What's on Joe Mind. We'll be here Friday at 9 for another team stream. Until then, have a great weekend. And hopefully your St. Patty's Day hangover is a short one. And have a great rest of the weekend. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Thanks, everybody.